get this thing back up. Okay, are we live now? Let's see if we're back. Let's try refreshing this page. YouTube is not the best live platform. Alrighty. It looks like we're back up. So I guess we'll just kind of start this whole thing over again. That's kind of frustrating. Hopefully we can get some people back here. Alrighty. Looks like people are joining. Let's just give everyone a second to get back in here. I'll make sure to take down the old stream. I don't know what exactly happened. OBS just kind of stopped. So, yeah, I've been debating moving to a different streaming platform if I'm going to be doing this more often, but looks like we got some people back, so that's good. Alrighty. Let me just double check all my settings. People are back. We meet again. Indeed we do, David. Indeed we do. Okay, so, with some technical difficulties out of the way, let's talk about YouTube. The goal for this stream is I want to unpack from a creator's perspective as much as I can get to in however long this stream ends up being. How does YouTube work? How do you create a YouTube channel? How do you get started making videos? How do you find an audience? How do you understand what's happening on your channel and capitalize on new opportunities? How do you, what information is available in analytics? We're going to talk about all of this sort of information today, or at least as much of it as I can get to. I have some questions that were submitted through the community tab and on Twitter that I will be addressing, some common questions that I think are important to talk about. Now, I think what we'll do to start this video is sort of give some context, some background. Now, I've been making YouTube videos for a very long time. In fact, in August, it will be 10 years making YouTube videos. I started making videos in 2010, so we are coming up on a decade, which is actually kind of unbelievable. But more importantly, we actually just passed a milestone in May, which was 5 years of this channel. 5 years of making content with my name on it and putting it out there. Now, not a lot of people know about some of my earlier content, certainly not my other YouTube channels, because those really weren't meant to be like, I wasn't trying to be a YouTuber, if that makes sense. It was mainly just a repository for just posting random nonsense. So yes, they were YouTube channels, but it wasn't really like me trying to do anything. And in fact, when I started this channel, I've always been into video production and video editing, and I've always just kind of been making content, and I've always also been interested in tech, so I decided to combine the two and start uploading videos about technology. And initially, I really didn't have a goal. I didn't really have a specific plan for what I wanted to do with my channel. It was not really structured. I didn't have a theme. I didn't talk about Mac content specifically, which is what I do now. I was just making miscellaneous tech videos based on whatever seemed relevant to me at the time. Now, obviously, as you can tell, things have changed pretty substantially, and I would consider my channel in sort of the current era as it begins now to have started in about April of 2018. That was the first time that I had a video where I posted it, and within about a week, it hit 100,000 views. I had had some videos get up there before, but that was the first time. It was like early, like first or second week of April 2018 was the first time ever that I had a video go 0 to 100 in a week. And that was when I started really increasing my presence and saying, okay, I'm going to actually try to be a YouTuber now, I guess. So basically what we're going to talk about is the way that starting a YouTube channel goes. What does that entail? Now, I posted let me just make sure I have this up here. Yeah, okay. I posted a poll on my community tab about a month ago. This was mainly just out of curiosity. I was just kind of interested in seeing what the breakdown of my audience was. What year did you guys start watching my videos? And this, it might not be surprising, but overwhelmingly 2019. Now, I didn't include 2020 because I kind of assumed that that was recent enough, but there is actually a substantial amount of my audience that has only been here in the current year. So I hit 100,000 subscribers in December of 2019, and we're at 180,000 now. So theoretically, about 40 or 45% of you guys have been here for only a couple of months. Which, you know, as a creator, you don't really get that appreciation. When YouTube channels blow up, or not to say that my channel blow up, but when YouTube channels gain a noticeable amount of subscribers, when you like double in under a year, basically, as a creator, you're still in this mindset of, well, this is my audience that has been here for this amount of time. But in reality, most of my audience has not been here for most of the content that I've created. And that's something that's, you know, a lot of you guys probably realize that because you're, you know, just discovering me. A lot of you guys have probably only been watching for a little while, but from the creator's perspective, we don't notice that as much. So it's very interesting to see stuff like this. Now, let's start by kind of focusing in on the things that make YouTube good and the things that make YouTube frustrating. Now, the way that YouTube works is you can kind of think of it like a fancy version of a referral program. We'll go back to my normal camera here. It's basically a referral program. So when you watch a YouTube video, what you're telling YouTube is, this is something that is interesting to me. That's just by watching it, you're saying, okay, this was a video that was interesting and I saw it and I clicked on it and I'm watching it. And then there's some other things that YouTube can gain from that. If you like a video, for example, YouTube goes, okay, this person saw the video, it looked interesting, they clicked it, they really enjoyed it, and they liked it, maybe to save it for later. And then you get other things. You watch the whole video. YouTube says, okay, they really like this video because they were interested enough to watch the whole thing. And then you have other forms of engagement. Let's say you comment on the video. Now, YouTube doesn't analyze the content of a comment. So if you watch a video and you get really mad at it and you leave an angry comment and you say, you suck, that functionally is the same as you see a video, you love it, you leave a comment and you say, great video. As far as YouTube is concerned, those two interactions are pretty much exactly the same, which is kind of ironic because whenever you get hate comments, those people don't even know it. They're actually fueling the video and increasing the chances that it gets recommended to other people. So that's, on a really basic level, the way YouTube decides what content shows up on your homepage. Now, obviously, there are other things, like if you subscribe to that person, then you can have your feed gets filled with their videos. And that tells YouTube, okay, this person's really interested and we're just going to kind of regularly show their videos. But there's also another aspect to that, which is that, you know, obviously, if you go on your YouTube subscriptions, I guarantee if you scroll all the way down, there are a bunch of people there where you're like, I totally forgot I was subscribed to this person. Their videos never show up for me. Why am I not seeing their videos? Subscribing to someone doesn't guarantee that you're going to always be shown their content. You still have the same rules of YouTube algorithms applying to you. Are you clicking on their videos? Are you engaging with their videos? Regular activity is what YouTube really looks for. That's why a lot of times people create a viral video and struggle to follow up on that, because if after the fact, if after people are engaging with that, you're not able to keep their interest, then going viral can actually end up hurting you because you end up with a bunch of dead subscribers and YouTube thinks that your content is failing. So sometimes YouTube can be a blessing and a curse in that sense. So essentially here, what we've had in the last probably 5 years or so is YouTube has become a lot more about sort of maintaining the position of existing creators, and it's not really that good anymore for creating new content and getting off the ground really quickly. So that was something that was a little bit unfortunate, because back in the day, YouTube was, like a lot of social media in the early days, YouTube was a place where you could go and post fun content that would just get seen by people. Channels were able to blow up in a couple of months. And the sad reality is that that doesn't happen as much anymore. It is not that common for YouTube channels to completely brand new channels started from scratch to just blow up. That is almost impossible. When you look at YouTubers that come out of nowhere, which is a very common thing, you say, oh wow, this person really took off in the last couple of months. Oh wow, I never heard of them and now they've got 1 million subscribers. Most of the time, those are people who have been making content for quite a while, 30, 40, 50 videos, maybe a couple of years on the platform, and then they get their big break. It is extremely uncommon to create a YouTube channel and within a couple of weeks or a couple of initial videos to just blow up. The times that does happen, because you can see those times, but oftentimes when new channels blow up, it's because they have other sites, other sort of online presence that refers to that situation. So sometimes, you'll have, oh, this person makes content with someone else and now they made their own channel. Those tend to take off faster. This person is, an established journalist, an established person on Instagram or Twitter, and they create a YouTube channel. And you sort of have that outside influence that draws people to the platform, and that's a great way to get started. But if you're making brand new content, you've never made YouTube videos, you don't have a following besides like your friends, YouTube is very hard to get started with. And so the best advice that I can give, if there's anyone watching this stream or watching this recording and you want to start a YouTube channel, the single most important piece of advice that you can get from anyone is patience and consistency. Don't go in with these expectations of being a YouTuber. If you want to be a YouTuber, that's fine. I totally recommend making YouTube videos. I have a ton of fun with it. A lot of people have a ton of fun with it. You don't have to be a 1 million subscriber YouTuber to have fun on this platform. But don't go in thinking that it's going to happen soon. Don't go in thinking, okay, I'm going to invest in this business opportunity. I'm going to make videos on YouTube and I'm going to get rich. Because you're going to disappoint yourself. Because just by the nature of how YouTube works, it does not emphasize new content as much as it emphasizes trendy content. So what I would recommend if you want to create a YouTube channel, sort of the TLDR of this video, is stick to it. Go in with low expectations, make videos that you want to make. That's the best thing that you can do. Make videos that you are interested in and that you think are good. And upload it regularly. And that's really the way that you can get the most out of YouTube. If you go in saying, oh, I've seen people make tech videos about buying an old Apple laptop, so I'm going to buy an old Apple laptop and I'm going to make a video on it and it's going to get 100,000 views. You're going to be disappointed and it's going to be extremely, extremely discouraging. Back in the early days when I started making content, I would post videos that I thought, I saw other similar content, I would have an idea, I'd be like, oh, this is going to get so many views, I'm so excited about it. And it just wouldn't. That's just not how YouTube works anymore. Even in 2015, back when I started this channel, it was like that. And today, I don't know, because I haven't started a brand new channel in a long time, but it's probably worse. It's probably even harder to get discovered because as people start growing on this platform and as the platform gets more and more saturated, it becomes harder and harder to get discovered. And as far as some people asked me on Twitter, let me see if I can pull up the exact question. someone had basically asked what was the first thing that got you started or something like that? Let me see if I can find this here. I think it accidentally deleted that. Yeah, here it is. Okay. How do you gain a following? There are millions of channels. How do you get someone to stumble across yours when you have no subs to help promote you? That was the question. This is a really good question, and I'm going to let you in on a dirty little secret. Are you ready? Luck. It's luck. If you want to get discovered on YouTube, you basically, you can have the best videos in the world, right? You could be nailing your production quality. There are people out there with unbelievable talent that have unbelievable video quality, but you still might not get discovered. What you need is luck. It's an odds game. You put out enough content, eventually, slowly, some people will watch it. Initial content, like within a year, I mentioned earlier, it took me a year to get 100 subscribers, right? 365 days. That is like a subscriber gained every 3 to 4 days. One sub every 3 to 4 days. That was discouraging. If I were really trying to become a YouTuber and I looked at my monthly gained subscribers and I saw 7, that would be discouraging if I really had high expectations. But basically, what you got to do on YouTube is really get through that grindy part. You put out some content, it goes nowhere. No one's going to see it, and you're going to be like, why am I doing this? But eventually, you'll get something, some little nibble, and then that brings in a couple of new people. You put out some more content, then you get another nibble. And you have to build it very slowly and very gradually. There's no sort of 0 to 60 time on a YouTube channel, if that makes any sense. You can't just pop over there and be like, all right, let's go, I'm going to be a YouTuber. It's not going to happen. So, let's at this point now, let's actually talk about some more sort of under the hood mechanics of how YouTube works. Because obviously there's a lot of sort of motivational people out there that are like, if you apply yourself and you really buckle down and invest all of your money and your time into YouTube, then you'll grow and you'll get 1 million subscribers. Half the time, whenever I see this sort of motivational content, and I'm not calling out anyone in particular, I don't really follow this sort of content, but more often than not, motivational YouTubers that make, specific content that is like, here's how to make a YouTube channel, it's different for everyone. There's no set of steps that you can follow that are going to lead you to success. Often, these people are trying to sell you a course on how to do this, which, you can question the ethics on that as much as you want. I won't make any commentary on it, but oftentimes there's a monetary aspect to telling someone that they're going to be rich someday. So what we'll do now is sort of talk about how YouTube works on a really, really granular level, and I'll actually show you guys my analytics tab. So, and this is something that is a little bit on the newer side. I think within the last year or so is when YouTube's been pushing their redesigned analytics. I've gotten used to it. It's gotten better as it's kind of been fleshed out. I didn't really have a problem with the old one, but whatever. So let me switch screens here, and we'll talk about analytics. So here's my channel dashboard. This is what it looks like. Hopefully I won't accidentally leak any important information. Let's just go into the analytics tab. Now the first thing that you can see actually right here, let me punch in on this a little bit. This latest video performance card is actually pretty useful. It's something that has been implemented fairly recently, and I really like it actually. I think this is something that YouTube should have had for a long time. Basically what this does is it gives you a ranking on how your video is performing compared to recent videos. And it gives you an idea of views compared to your average. It gives you an idea of the click-through rate, which we'll talk about in a second, as well as the average view duration, which is super important. And so what this does is it shows me here, okay, this video did well. This is my most recent video. Don't buy these 5 Apple products in June 2020. Now, obviously, you can tell that there's a little bit more of a clicky headline here. I try not to clickbait, but whenever you see clickbait, you know, it's hard not to. That stuff works. Clickbait works. I try not to do it as much as I can. But as you can see here, this video has been doing pretty well. It is, in terms of my most recent videos, it's above average. And as you can see, these little green arrows show that it's above average. And sometimes you get some more little contextual information. It'll say, this video is doing really well. This video is not doing so well. It'll kind of give you that idea. And this is really nice when you're getting started because it gives you an idea of the context of what you're looking at, which is really nifty. Now, let's go into the analytics tab here. I'm actually going to keep this punched in because I think it's pretty interesting. So here is the overview of a YouTube channel. Now, this is something that, you know, you don't really get to see too often, the inner workings of a YouTube channel. Now, this first graph here is quite interesting. This kind of shows you the views by day. Now, you can see these little play buttons down here. These are whenever a video gets posted. Now, you might be noticing something. Every time there's a video posted, there's a spike in views. That makes sense. That, you know, seems pretty logical. Whenever you post a video, there's going to be more views. But one thing that's very interesting with YouTube is when you're a small channel, it is incredibly common to have the video just get most of the views come after you've posted it. Once you get to a little bit larger, especially over like 75K, what? My stream complete? Did it crash again? Are you serious? Oh. Are we back? I don't know what's going on here. Okay. I think we're video output low. Let me try. I'm going to take a quick pause here, folks, and get an Ethernet cord. Okay, we are on Ethernet. I'm hoping it'll come back. All right. This is annoying. I apologize if you're watching this after the fact and you're like, what the heck is all this? It still says that you guys are experiencing buffering. Okay. Now it looks like we're coming back. Okay. Looks like we're all good here. So let's continue to talk about... so as I was just saying before, we had that fun and cool technical interruption there. YouTube videos, when you're a small channel, tend to increase in views over a longer period of time. But once you start getting 50 to 100K, that shifts. And more often than not, your initial day is the highest day of views. The initial week is where the bulk of the views come from. So if we look at my live view counts right here, this is what it looks like right now on the channel. Now, personally, I actually prefer the old YouTube live counter, but this is real-time data right now of what is happening on the YouTube channel. Now, you can see in the last 60 minutes, we have an increase in viewers, and that's you guys. That's the 332 people that are watching right now. You can see we had a spike here. I think that was probably... Was that when we started the stream, roughly? Yeah, looks like that's about... And then look, this is where we had that annoying little crash where I had to pause for like a minute and restart the stream. So that gives you some idea of that. And you can see that our current views, 2 to 3 p.m., at least in my time here, are increasing because of the people watching the stream right now. But you can also see this the shape of this graph. This shape right here is that's pretty much been the same for me for about 2.5 years. That graph where almost every day it peaks around the middle of the day for me. And then it goes down a little bit, and then the next day about the middle of the day it peaks again. Almost within an hour or two every day. You can see the peak today was at noon, well, except for now, but this doesn't really count because there's a stream right now. And then yesterday the peak was at 1 p.m. You can see here this was starting to go down a little bit around 3 or 4 p.m. That happens almost every single day. It's very interesting. And so what you'll see is, as we scroll down here, obviously my most recent video is the most highly viewed right now. Now this video has been doing better over a longer period of time, and that's often one metric that you'll notice as you get started is a week or so into your video, if it's still getting views, that's usually a good sign that you're going to continue to gain momentum because it's being consistently recommended. Even if it's not like blowing up in views, consistent views and sort of almost emulating that sinusoidal wave, if you will, of the current view count. You can see we're almost emulating that. That's how you know that a video is going to kind of last a little bit longer. But then you can also see there's other types of videos that show up here that are doing better. Now these two are also pretty recent. This one is about a month old, so that's good to see that this video is still gaining some views. And then you have stuff like this, November 2019, December 2019. Then you'll get sort of older videos that continue to have a steady, not huge compared to uploading current videos, but as you create more content and have more videos on your channel, you basically get, look at all this. These are all residual views. None of these videos are blowing up. None of these videos are getting a huge amount of views. You can see a lot of these are in the multiples of 10. They're in the 2-figure range. But as you can see, as you sort of get established, these residual views add up quite a bit. If you look at this video is the only one right now that is getting substantial amounts of views. 494 in the last 60 minutes, 30,000 in the last 48 hours. That is by far and away the most viewed real-time video, 30,000. But 151,000 across the channel. So that means that these right here, these top two videos making up for 37,000, there's still, what is that, 113,000 views that are just residual views from a catalog full of videos. And that really feeds into what we were talking about how important consistency and just basically as many uploads as you can make. Having a catalog of videos is what keeps people around. If someone comes across this video, don't buy these 5 Apple products, and say, oh, I like this video. This video is good. And then they've got all of these videos that they can go click through and watch. That is what drives channel growth. That is what drives people to come back, because you have all of these videos. And then all of a sudden, you know, this video, turning my cheap $140 MacBook Pro from a year ago, all of a sudden that's showing up in your notifications. You click on that. Here's another one from August 2019. That one gets showed in your recommended. That's how you drive subgrowth. You got to have a catalog of videos, basically. Now let's talk a bit about, let me get to some of the questions here. I'm kind of rambling. So someone talked about what is the best time to post a video so it gets the most viewers. That actually goes into what we were talking here with this sort of daily rise and fall of videos. I post my videos at 11 a.m. for the most part, except for when I have like a special occasion, like a launch day review, or if I want to make, you know, something that's got to be a fast reaction, then those I just post literally as soon as they're ready to go live. And then people get confused because it's in 360p. But for the most part, I post at 11 a.m. The reason that I do that is because that's what I normally do. I don't really have a specific reason. It's just that's what's worked for me in the past. And once you get into a rhythm, YouTube likes when you continue that rhythm. So that's when I post. But also, if you look at this graph here, you can see that 11 a.m. is when views are increasing. So it gives you it gives me at least the best chance of reaching as many people as possible. Let's see here. What's another question? Oh yeah, so let's talk about sponsors and revenue for a second here. Now, it's a little bit sort of taboo to talk about revenue and how much money you make on YouTube, and I can definitely understand that. We're not going to talk about specific dollar amounts too much, but one thing that I will talk about is if we look at this is the view count, right? So let's back this up actually. Let's look at the last year. These are my views for the last year. And you can see that you have sort of these periodic increases that do quite well. And then you can see after this spike here, which was when I posted that video, my most viewed video where I talk about I bought 12 MacBooks. Most of you probably have seen that video. Statistically, it has 3 times as many views as I have subscribers. So that video is what sort of caused this increase. And then you can see that after that, like look at this line here, ready? 50,000 views. And this is daily, by the way. Before that, you know, I had been peaking, I'd been getting up into the 50,000 view per day a couple of times. But after this peak, you can see 50,000 views a day is starting to become the floor on the channel. So that's another feature that you'll notice. Well, not really a feature, but that's another sort of phenomenon that you'll see as you get a video that does well when you have other videos for people to watch. Like this was literally caused by one video. I posted one single video that did really well, and it causes the entire channel and all of my other videos, past and present and future, to do better. So the benefits of posting engaging videos last a lot longer than just the video itself. Okay, someone asked, what's the best way to get 4,000 watch hours? Now, I'm not super familiar with this because I created my channel back before there was a requirement to get monetized, but as far as I'm aware, and by the way, I'm going to widen this. Actually, no, I'll leave it here. So here, let's take a look at the graph here of watch hours. Watch hours is little known, but incredibly important on YouTube. When you post a video, YouTube is looking for a number of things. Now, in the olden days, and this actually, I think I might have to clip this segment because this is, I think, one of the most important takeaways that you can get from a YouTube video, I think. In the olden days, YouTube loved percentages. If you watched 90% of a video, that did well. And that was back when YouTube was a lot of short videos, short clips, and stuff like that. YouTube really loved if you watched a large percentage of a video, they said, oh, that means that a large percentage of this video was good, and they would recommend it. That's not the case anymore, because eventually, somewhere along the line, YouTube noticed something. If people stayed on the platform for longer, they would watch more ads, which would generate more revenue. And so YouTube shifted. They stopped emphasizing, how much of this video have you watched, and they started emphasizing what amount of time did you watch. And around that same time, they started implementing mid-roll ads for 10-minute videos. These aspects are the most important things to keep in mind about being on this platform. Watch time is king. You could post a 5-minute video and someone could watch 2/3 of the video, right? So 5-minute video, 2/3 of the video, they watch 3 minutes on average. That is a really high percentage. Most people, as you can see here, view duration, right? Somewhere in the 40%, because people on YouTube have a really short attention span, and a lot of people click off within the first 30 seconds or so, and it brings down the averages. But 40 to 50% is pretty average for view duration. So if I post a 5-minute video and someone watches 3 minutes of it, their view duration is 60%, which is really high. Higher than most people will get on average. However, that's not what YouTube cares about anymore, because if you post a 15-minute video and someone watches 43% of it, a much lower percentage, they're watching 7 minutes and 53 seconds, which means they're on the platform for longer and they're likely to stay on the platform for longer. And that's what YouTube values. So that's why you'll notice on this latest video card here, they don't talk about the average percentage viewed. They talk about the average view duration. That's what's really important. If you look here, this 7 minutes and 49 seconds average view duration is up. It's typical in the first 4 days, 651. And in fact, you can see on this video here, 6 minutes and 40 seconds, it's a greater percentage of the video, but because it's less time, it's not rated as highly by YouTube. And so what you end up with is you basically, this might seem like kind of scummy advice, but you basically want to just make your videos longer. It's just a quirk of the way that YouTube works. They want you to post longer videos, and you're more likely with a longer video to get more recommendations because that's what YouTube values. It doesn't matter if they watch the second half of your video. You could fill the second half of your video with 15 minutes of you just staring at the camera, and as long as people watch more on average, YouTube will think that you have made a better video. It's a very strange dynamic, and it's really weird to think about. And obviously, I'm not saying that you should just stuff in a bunch of random stuff to inflate the length of your videos. I don't do that. I actually used to shorten my videos significantly, and I still do. Most of my takes are 30 or 40 minutes, and I cut them down a lot. But yeah, long videos don't be afraid of them. A lot of people are afraid of them. I used to be when I started making content. I was like, oh geez, I don't want to go to 10 minutes. That's too long. People are going to lose interest. Totally not the case. It's very counterintuitive, but that is what they value. So let me go into some other questions here. What was the first time a sponsor reached out to you? And if you know, how does it compare to other YouTube channels? Like what number of subscribers did I have when a sponsor reached out to me? So that's an interesting question. Sponsorships are very individual. So personally, and this was actually, someone else asked this question. I forgot to write it down, but someone basically asked me is, do I contact sponsors or do they contact me? I've never contacted a sponsor. They usually, like, you put in the about section, you can put a business email. So I have a business email, and sponsors will reach out to you. The first time I had a sponsor reach out to me to sponsor a video was, I don't know, a little bit under 10,000 subscribers, something like that. Now, usually when you start, it's very hard to gauge your worth as a creator because depending on your views, depending on how many subscribers you have, all of these things change. But around 10,000 is when I started getting sponsored videos, and it's been pretty steady since then. I don't really feel... I actually turn down more sponsors than I accept just because there's a lot of really cringy companies out there. I remember, in the middle of last year, I had this one company that was just, incessantly emailing me for some, electric bug zapper thing. Those fly swatters that are electrified and they zap them? There's some company, and they emailed me, 35 times. It was really annoying. And you'll also get people that are just, really obviously bad deals. They'll be like, okay, well, we want to pay you $600 to upload 8 sponsored videos, which is a horrible idea, especially as your channel gets larger. So it's kind of up to you to pick and choose who you want to advertise on your channel, because keep in mind, you have control. This is your content, and you can do with it what you will. So don't let a sponsor rake you over the coals and tell you that you need to give them better dollars and you need to give them more views and whatever, because I guarantee whenever you get a sponsor, their goal is not to give you money. Their goal is to make money. Their goal is, I want to pay as little money as possible to get my product in front of as many eyeballs as possible. That's the goal of sponsoring. Now, personally, I love the sponsors that I work with, and I only advertise and work with companies that I truly support. And as I get larger, more notable, I don't know how to describe the size of my channel, as I gain more subscribers, the companies that reach out to me understand how marketing works, and they understand the value of what they're asking me to do. So I don't feel duped. I don't feel taken advantage of. And if I did, I wouldn't advertise it because, you know, it's up to me. So dealing with sponsors is something that you kind of have to work out on a case-by-case basis as you go through it. Now, something else that someone actually asked me on the topic of money, which I don't like to talk about, but that's all right. I know a lot of people are curious about it. Someone basically asked about CPM and about taxes, which are really good questions. You don't necessarily know about this stuff. I certainly didn't when I started on YouTube. Basically, YouTube, the way that you earn revenue is through what is known as CPM. So we can go into CPM here, and we'll go playback-based CPM here, $8.55. So CPM stands for cost per mille, mille being Latin for 1,000, and that's basically playback-based amount of advertising dollars per 1,000 views. And what you can see here in estimated monetized playbacks, this is the number of views where ads were shown. Now you can see that that's pretty significantly less. If we go to the overview here, 2.2 million views, 1.4 million of those were monetized. And that's because people have ad blocks, people have YouTube Premium, other forms of just basically not seeing an ad. Sometimes YouTube doesn't show ads on purpose. It's not every time an ad is supposed to play does an ad play. And so that's basically what you're looking at right here is the CPM based on the amount of times the ads are shown. Now, what you'll see right here, $8.55 is lower than in the past, and that's because of the current pandemic situation. A lot of large advertisers have been pulling out of YouTube and have been reducing the number of ads that they're buying. Google Adsense, which is what is used, it's a bidding process. So if you're advertising on YouTube, you say, okay, this is my budget. I want to spend $20,000 advertising on YouTube, and this is how much I'm willing to pay for that. And what YouTube will do is it will take that amount of money that you spent, you kind of set your own budget, and then it will determine how many times they're going to show that video. And they'll basically just say, all right, well, this is how much you want to spend, and this is sort of where you fall in terms of your relationship to other advertisers. And then they will show ads until you spend all the money that you've said, and then they will stop showing ads. And so what happens when we have the current situation is a lot of larger companies that bid more and show more ads have been pulling out or greatly reducing the number of ads that they're showing. And so this goes down. So normally for me, this is around $10 to $12, and now it's down to $8. And so that results in less revenue by about 20 or 30%. And that's why I personally don't want to be a full-time YouTuber, because it changes. Like, your views change, your revenue changes, the amount of money you make per the views you get, which are also changing, changes. It's not a stable source of income, which is not to say that it's a bad source of income, but it's not always the most reliable. Okay, here. So let's talk about something else. Oh yeah, taxes. I was going to talk about taxes. Okay. YouTube does not deduct taxes. Basically, if you are a YouTuber, you are self-employed. Makes sense. So whenever you get a check at the end of the month, YouTube sends their checks out like the third week of the month usually. That is before taxes. So you are then liable at the end of the year to, they'll send you a form telling you how much you made in the year, and then you are liable to pay the taxes on that income. And the same thing goes for sponsors. So every time I work with a different sponsor, that is a different W-9 form saying, oh, this is a new source of income. So you gotta add, it does end up being quite a bit of paperwork, but essentially what you're seeing is pre-tax income. And then at the end of the year, you're then liable to do all of that paperwork and figure out how much money you actually have to pay. One thing that is nice about being a tech YouTuber is any large purchases like my iMac Pro, this microphone, stuff like that is business expenses and it's tax deductible. So that's why, that's why YouTubers, when they're out there buying the $10,000 Mac Pro, you bet they're writing that off on their taxes. You bet that is coming off of their taxes, as it should. Okay, so that's kind of an idea of how taxes work, and how YouTube revenue works. I'm going to take a look here. Someone asked, how are you allowed to show your revenue? I think there's a myth out there that you're not allowed to show your YouTube revenue. I don't know if that was true at some point, but as far as I'm aware, there's no, you're allowed to show your analytics and you're allowed to show your revenue. If you're not, then this video is probably going to get taken down, but as far as I'm aware, there's no reason not to, apart from, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to show ooh, look, this is how much money I make. It just is sort of incidentally up there. But as far as I'm aware, there's no rule against showing any information about how your channel is doing. So let's actually talk about now. Let's go through into my video list here, and we'll dig back into the olden days, the early days of YouTube, and how it kind of builds. Because I talked about at the beginning of this video, I kind of talked about how in order to get discovered on YouTube, you basically just have to be patient. And so we'll go through this. I'm gonna see if we can fast forward all the way through back to the early days. We won't go back all the way, actually. So we're going back through, what is this, early 2019. Wow, there's a lot of videos in here. That's kind of crazy. Basically, the way that I map out how my channel has grown was I started in 2015, and pretty much every single thing that happened in 2015 was entirely irrelevant. I don't think I had a single video that just did super well. In fact, I'm gonna do this. Okay, that just went to YouTube. Okay. This is kind of a backwards way of doing this, but I figure it's actually easier to show you guys if I just go to my video tab here, date added oldest, and we'll just kind of look through some of these things. So here's some of the early stuff. As with most YouTubers, when you look at the old things, they are kind of cringy. Some of these, and obviously it's a little bit tricky because a lot of the views trickle in after the fact. So when you look at a lot of YouTubers, you'll look at their early content and you'll be like, wow, that's actually a pretty decent number of views, but that doesn't necessarily represent the entire thing. So if we go through some of the tech stuff here, right, we've got this video. I remember being very excited about when that came out because it got about 1,300 views. That video pretty much hasn't had any movement since then. I remember being disappointed about this video, the Apple TV unboxing, only got 100 views. And then there was not a lot of videos here in 2015. Season 2, I guess I had tried to create some season differentiation in 2016, and there's a couple of videos that were getting a few hundred views, but at this point I had about 100 subscribers. Wasn't really anything cool going on back then. This video I was excited about, trying out the Microsoft HoloLens. For a while, that was my most viewed video. And as you might be able to notice right now, let me take a look at the date on this video, which is going to be really cringy. Uh-oh. Well, it looks like it's monetized, so yay. May 2016. So at this point, we're a year in. We're a year into making videos, and as you can see, there was really nothing going on. But at the same time, I was making videos purely just because I thought they were interesting. You can see that, look, this one is about a camera that would go on a Game Boy. I don't know. Who knows? WWDC 2016 recap. That was one of the earlier videos that I did with Noah, which also didn't get a whole lot of views. Let's go see what this shot looks like. Yeah, back in these days, these were the white wall days. It's very cringy to watch. But I was basically, wow, look at the framing of this. That's really bad. I was basically just in front of a white wall with a couple of Amazon lights that I got for like 40 bucks, filming with an iPhone. Pretty simple stuff here. Wasn't a ton of production quality, and you know, filming with an iPhone totally worked back then. You don't need to go out and buy a DSLR camera, in my opinion, especially if you're just getting started, because it doesn't become worth it until you actually are, you know, making revenue. Oh yeah, here we go. So this was where my channel first kind of started. Was with, I had basically gone, oh, look at all these like cheap smartphones and smartwatches and stuff on Amazon. So I bought them and I made a video. And then this was the video where, this was the first time, look at that, 73,000 views. This was the first time that I had a video do well. This was the first time ever that I had seen some noticeable amount of views. It's the first time that I saw my views actually start to increase. And in fact, if I go to my analytics here, we can kind of compare this with my lifetime views. Let's go take a look at this in the lifetime. So now I created the channel back with my email in 2012. So basically there's like a couple of years here that just don't even matter. You can see here is 2015. This, you know, I was posting videos here and I was still getting 7 views a day or thereabouts. A couple of blips that went up to like 190. That was my most viewed day for a while. And then again, back down to not a whole lot going on. But here is roughly where you can see, what is that, September, August into September is where it started to increase a little bit. And in fact, look at that, August 21st. So there you go. That was the first time that I saw videos start to increase. And then we started getting into like a day where I hit 1,000 views. And that was because I basically, whoops, I just realized that I closed the tab, didn't I? Okay, well that was kind of dumb of me to do. Let me just pull that back up real quick. I'm very conservative when it comes to tabs. I don't like having a lot of tabs open. Anyway, okay, let's get back to where we were. Okay, here we are. The best Galaxy S7, 73,000 views. Then I bought a Huawei P9, 61,000 views. Then this was the video. This for like a long time was my most viewed video. And I guess fortuitously it started me on the trail of going into Apple products. 355,000 views. And keep in mind, September 3rd, 2016, I don't even think I had 500 subscribers at the time. Now, obviously, a lot of these views came after the fact. It didn't happen quickly. It took, you know, it's taken almost 4 years for it to reach that number of views. And for a long time, this video was gaining views inexplicably. But these 3 videos right here, which sort of led to this increase, was the time where I started going, okay, this is some content that I could actually continue to make. Let's see, we keep going here. And then now every once in a while, you'll see a couple of videos that do a little bit better. So this one had 23,000 views. Here's one with 18,000. Here's one with 15,000. And it started picking up a little bit. And then I tried to do it again and it didn't do well, 2,200 views. So as soon as you see stuff on YouTube, sometimes things work, but it's not always repeatable. Even with the Note 7, this was in like 2017 when the Note 7 was exploding everywhere, still didn't do so well. I thought that video was going to be really successful, and it wasn't. This stuff happens all the time. But now as we're getting in here, this was another video that just kind of out of the blue did really well. Don't really know why. And then here was one where we're talking about the MacBook Pro 10 years later. But this really, right here, I think. No, where was it? Where was that video? Yeah, I guess it was this one. right here, this arguably is the first of the modern era, the first time I made a video about buying cheap Macs. And this was kind of what started me on my current trajectory and what led me to where I am today. So as you can see here, we are almost 2 years into making content before even finding the niche that I'm currently in. We're almost 40% of the way through the lifetime of my channel, and we're just getting started. So, I mean, and there's a lot of common threads here. I mean, you can see, you know, I had a DSLR at this point. I had a D3200 Nikon that was pretty cheap. This was where, I mean, this video, honestly, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It is over 3 years ago at this point. So I guess, you know, you can't really blame me for not having the best production quality back then. But then I started leaning into making more Mac videos. Here's another one that did well. Here's another one that did pretty well at the time. And now all of a sudden you'll notice as I start going through this, we're starting to get some more sort of Luke Miani TM type videos. Cheapest Retina MacBook Pro, selling MacBooks on eBay, getting a MacBook Pro refurbished, flipping a MacBook Pro. Then I tried another fake phone video and it didn't really work, so that was unfortunate. Another cheap MacBook Pro. And as you can see, as we go down here, this was the one. No, it was this one. This was where I kind of consider my channel to have started. If we go to the analytics here, if we go to the overview and we go to the lifetime upload here, you see this right here? That was by far and away the most. This was like a day after uploading this video, 14,000 views in that day. That was by far the most amount of views that I have gained at a single time with a video. So that was where my channel, as we know it today, really started. And in the last 48 hours, 46 people have actually watched this video, which is interesting. Not really. But let's go back here. This is where it started. This is pretty much where it started. And as you can see, look at this. We are 3 years, almost 3 years, 2 years and 11 months into making videos before I would even consider my channel to have really started. And that gives you an idea of, I mean, look at the catalog that was going on here. And part of the reason why this video did so well is that it was one of many. That's another thing that is really important about success on YouTube. If you make videos and every video is different, you might have a video that does really well, which is what happened to me back in the day when I made the fake smartwatch, the fake Apple Watch video that got 355,000 views. Whoops. That's what happened for that video. It wasn't really... There wasn't really a huge catalog of similar videos, so it didn't drive subgrowth. That was the mistake. I didn't understand that 3-4 years ago. I didn't understand that consistency oftentimes drives the growth. So the fact that I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18... Yeah, 18 or 19 videos just purely talking about used Macs. That is what let this video succeed and what led it to grow the channel. Now, if we go back to the channel analytics here, you can see this was, yeah, here was that jump in April of 2018. That jump in views right here, that was this video right there. Those 2 days that we saw in the analytics for this video led to this spike right here. And then obviously it fell down a little bit. And then over the summer, I guess we had another video that did quite well in 2018. Oh, in fact, I think I know what video that was. I think that was which one was it? I basically had a whole bunch of these videos. They didn't do super duper well. The examining shady MacBook resellers, that one did well. And then really I think, oh, this one did well. Can you play Fortnite on a 5-year-old MacBook Pro? That one, as you could imagine, was kind of an experiment for me. I was like, what if I could just make a Fortnite video? Will that make the views go higher? Yes, it could. In fact, actually, I think as an interesting case study, let's open up the analytics for this video, because if we look at the lifetime views, originally this title did not have Fortnite in it. Yeah, look at that. So you can see when I first posted the video, it didn't have Fortnite in the title. It was just, can you play games on a 5-year-old MacBook Pro? And then I added Fortnite to the title, and the views increased astronomically, and then continued to do pretty well for quite a bit of time. Even as recently as 2020, the views have increased again. That's very strange. So that was, back in the day, you could put Fortnite in the title and then the video would get more views. It was crazy. But, oh yeah, here's 10,000 subscribers. When did I hit 10,000 subscribers? Well, what was the date for this? May 2018. Wow, so almost exactly to the day, 3 years into making content, was 10,000 subscribers. So basically, one of the things that I noticed was, it took a year to get 100. Then it took another year to get to 1,000. And then it took another year to get to 10,000. That was in 2018. And then in 2019, it was about another year to hit 50, and then 6 months for 100. And then now we're coming up on 200. So you can see it kind of building here. And as we're going through these videos, you can also notice that the view counts are increasing here. There's a lot more views that are doing well, 260, 201. Still some videos not doing super duper well. Oh, this was some this was the one and only time that I've really done a dedicated video. Didn't enjoy it. Don't really want to do it again. But as you can see here, views are increasing. If we look at the analytics here, this is where views started increasing. And then it sort of makes sense. Then you see this, it's not quite exponential, but this a little bit more than linear growth over the past 2 years or so is what happens when you have a catalog of videos. Oh, someone just pointed out that they remember looking up videos about playing Fortnite on a Mac and finding my video. That's really cool. It's cool to see that because, a lot of people, I don't really know a ton of people that stuck around. Oh, yeah, here's a video I made about using Fortnite to gain views. Let's go find this graph here. I remember this video. I had put in, here it is. Yes. So this is a screenshot of my real-time views when I put Fortnite in the title. Look at this. It's ridiculous. I literally put Fortnite in the views, and within minutes, that's what put Fortnite in the title, and that's what happened. So sometimes changing something about the title can absolutely make your views increase. So it's important to actually work on that stuff. Now let's sort of focus. We've talked a little bit now about how to slowly build and grow an audience over time. Now we're getting into 2019, and you can see the videos are getting a lot more modern, and we're also getting higher view counts. This video actually did really well. That was about a year ago, I think. Something like that. Yeah, May 2019. Yeah, so now you can kind of get the sense there of how long it takes to build an audience, because there's not really one solution to doing it. Let's go through. Let's talk about. Let me see. Do I have any other questions? Post any questions that you have. We can talk about optimization. Someone's pointing out here, titles and tags are everything, guys. It's like marketing your product. That's very true. Let's actually go into my most recent video and talk about optimization, because there's a lot of stuff that goes into making a video. So this is what it looks like when you're editing a video that you're going to post. This is what you have. Now this is after it's already been processed, you basically have three main bits of metadata: the title, the description, and the tags. Now the thumbnail counts for a lot. The thumbnail is important, but the importance of the title, description, and the tags is that that is what YouTube uses to determine what your video is about. Now that's not to say that you can't have a successful video with little information in here. You don't necessarily need that, and I'll mention why in just a second. But YouTube, like, they can't look at your video. They don't watch your video to figure out what it's about. They don't look at your thumbnail and say, oh, this video is about don't buy these products, right? You have to tell YouTube what your video is about. So the trick is you want to include keywords. Someone is calling me right now, but I'm going to ignore them. And so the trick is when you're making your description, when you're making your title, you want to be putting in little keywords. So you also have stuff like don't buy these 5 Apple products. That's a very formulaic type of thing. We've got June 2020. Putting the current year in your title really helps get more views. I can't explain that. It's just, it always seems to work. Don't buy these 5, if you have a list of something, 5, 10, top 10 Apple products, those types of things tend to do pretty well from a metadata, and it's essentially SEO. It's search engine optimization here. And so you want to have a nice short title with some keywords in it, and then you want to get some other things in your description. It's June, WWDC, Roundup, Apple products. And this one, honestly, this is one of my shorter descriptions. I didn't put a ton of time. Oftentimes, I'll try to write a couple of sentences just to get some keywords in there and get a real description of what the video is about. Also put in some timestamps, and those are all keywords as well. iMac, iPhone, iPad Pro, all of that is keyword. And then down in the tags, this is also where you are putting keywords. So 2020 MacBook, 2020 MacBook Air, 2020 MacBook Pro, putting a bunch of variations. All of these are like current searchable things. Now, not a lot of my traffic actually comes from searches. So while you're optimizing and you want to put in terms that are going to get searched for, you're still going to be getting more views from recommendations than you are from searches. So if I go back to my analytics here, we can actually look at that. If we go to, I believe it's under reach. Yes, here we go. Impressions and how they lead to watch time. 80.5% of my impressions are recommendations. So viewers seeking your content, this is searching, 20%. Not a lot. Look at how much of this stuff is coming from watch page, which is other videos, and home page, which obviously is when you click on YouTube. 44 and 36%. 80% total from recommendations. So when you optimize this stuff, you're optimizing it for search, but you're not necessarily going to get the views from search. You want to be able to be found if something is searching for your video, if someone's searching for your video. But more importantly, what this is doing is telling YouTube what the video is about, which increases the chances that it recommends it to people that's interested in that. And when you have this type of content being recommended to a larger number of people that are searching for this type of content or are likely to click on it, you get more people clicking on the content, and more people clicking on the content leads to more watch time, which leads to more people clicking on it, which leads to more people seeing it, and that is how you grow a YouTube channel. That is how you grow a video. So it's somewhat indirect. You're not necessarily like, okay, I'm going to get all of my views from someone searching for 2020 MacBook. I'm probably not getting very many views from that search term at all. But these 36 million impressions, most of which are recommendations, that is where your views are coming from. We can also look at some other demographic information here in terms of external sources. Google search. So that is another application where you're going to be getting traffic based on optimizing search terms. But you can see even then, all of external sources only account for 4.5% of my total views. That means that by far and away, the way people are finding my content is because YouTube is showing it to them. So you are literally beholden to the algorithm for almost all of your views. Now, that's not to say that that applies to every single video. In fact, I believe if I go find, there's a certain type of video that I tend to do every year. We'll have another one coming up that tend to do pretty well. Anytime I have a new product review, like the 16-inch here, we'll open that and we'll see if that ends up working. That video did very well. Content like that, you can get trendy content, then you do want to target for views, or target search terms, because you will actually get noticeable traffic. I'm not going to spend a million years looking through this. Here we go. So this was the 16-inch MacBook Pro back when that came out. The day that it arrived, I had a video up, and if we go down to reach, yes. Actually, even still, you can see, look at the almost 90% is from recommendations, but if we look down here in the YouTube search, it's a noticeably larger percentage than, actually no, it's smaller. That's a little strange. Actually, okay, here's what we'll do. Let's do a custom range, and we'll go like the first week that it was uploaded in November. Wow, that's actually very surprising. So I guess this video wasn't as searchable as I thought it was. I guess that was more recommendation based. But I know I've had some videos where I basically, whenever a new Mac OS version comes out, I get my hands on the beta and I make a video on it like immediately. And it should be here in June. Okay, well, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time going for it. But basically, some videos you can get more time, you can get more views from search than others. But by and large, you are appealing to the algorithm. You're telling the algorithm what it's about, because then the algorithm knows who to show it to, which gives you the best chance at success. That's why you want to have those boxes checked. You want to have those things filled. Now, let's see here. What else do we have? I want to address some questions here. We've been streaming for about a little over an hour. I'm going to go through the chat for just a second here. See if we can find. Oh yeah, someone asked, do I need to invest in Google AdSense to grow your channel? That's a great question. So I personally do not advertise in any way. 100% of my views and reach, 100% of that is driven organically through recommendations and through just uploading videos all the time. So I actually had done an experiment back in 2015 when I was like, I wonder what would happen if I spent $20 on YouTube ads. And nothing happened, as you would probably imagine. I didn't have the budget to do a wide-scale advertising campaign. But basically, from what I found, I don't really find the need to advertise on YouTube. Advertising for a channel isn't always the best fit on YouTube because, I don't know, I think for products and services, advertising does make sense. And it actually will yield noticeable returns on investment. But for a personal channel, the ROI is not there. It's just not worth doing when the organic traffic is you can advertise and get viewers on your channel, but the organic content is the organic traffic is way higher quality because it's people that want to be there. It's people that want to watch your videos, not just people that, happened to be watching other stuff and then you threw your content in front of them. I've heard tales of people where they will post something on Google AdSense, try to advertise it, and then just basically get people like, I don't want to watch this. Why did you make me watch this? They just get a bunch of hate. So personally, I don't think it's worth, especially if you're just starting out, I don't think it's worth the investment to do advertising. Someone also just asked, do I make a YouTube living off of YouTube? I'm a full-time student, so I'm not currently employed, but I don't intend to be a full-time YouTuber. Someone asked, how long do I see myself doing YouTube for? I don't know, man. As long as it is enjoyable and as long as you guys enjoy watching it. We have 400 people watching right now, so I'm not stopping anytime soon. Oh, someone asked, what would I guess the threshold number of videos is for creating a back catalog that will help with organic growth? Honestly, basically, if you want to create a catalog, you basically just want to have as many videos as possible. Don't sacrifice quality, obviously, because if you have a whole bunch of really crappy videos, that's not really going to help you. But in terms of growing a channel, having a catalog of videos that are related, and that's really important, related videos does help you. I would say if you're doing a series and a video takes off, keep making stuff like that because you want to capitalize on it going forward. And I would say probably about 30 to 50 videos is a good size to have residual views, because residual views are really, really important. As I mentioned earlier, that's like more than 60% of the views at any given moment that I'm getting are just old videos getting a couple dozen views per hour. So don't ever underestimate, like you think the video's dying, but it kind of sits there and it just kind of adds on top of the pile, and you kind of just keep on trucking with that sense. Now, someone asked in the super chat, and I want to acknowledge that it's not super related to the video, but someone asked, any tips for keeping a 13-inch Air cool? We'll go back to focusing on YouTube after this, but I wanted to acknowledge Carl because of the super chat. Thank you very much, by the way. If you want to keep the MacBook Air cool, put it in a freezer. There's no heat pipe. There's not a lot that you can do with that thing, unfortunately. Burst tasks, don't use it for huge, long amounts of time. Don't use it for Final Cut. It's not really meant for that sort of stuff. Anyway, let's take a look back here. Someone said quality is the most important thing, IMO, and that's an interesting point. So if you're making, for filmmaking, 100%, I agree with you. Quality should be the focus. With YouTube, there's an interesting dynamic because you obviously, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't have high quality videos. You want to have your quality as good as possible, but really, really important, you want to have efficiency. For me, my videos, I can make my videos really fast. I can go through an edit within a couple of hours. Like if you guys see, whenever I make launch day reviews, so the recent MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air, the 16-inch, whenever the day is that those things ship, I have a video posted. And I've had some people wonder in the past, like, hey, Luke, do you get them in advance? How are you able to get a video out so fast? I don't get them in advance. I plan out the structure for the video. Like, I'll open up a notes app on my phone, kind of figure out what I want to talk about just like bullet points that I write down. And then I will literally just sit by the front door, wait, just like watch TV or do other work, and wait for the MacBook to show up. And then I run downstairs, turn on my camera, and I go. And I usually I start filming around 3, and I get a video up by 7. And that is all because of efficiency. I have done this for long enough that I know, I have a folder where I have all of my channel branding, intro, the little Twitter thing that goes up in the screen, the end screen, all of that stuff. I just have that ready to go. I have my structure. I just sit down, film, import my media, cut together my A-roll, film a bunch of B-roll once I know how much of it I need, and I just go. So efficiency is pretty important, especially if you want to capitalize off of timely events that are going on. So that's something that's really important if you want to do well on YouTube. If you're taking a long time to edit your videos, that's not a bad thing. And I'm, again, a huge proponent of quality, but YouTube absolutely loves regular uploads. If we go to my videos here and we just kind of look in the last couple of weeks, I usually don't go a full week between posts. I wish I could. I wish my videos would get views for a longer amount of time so I didn't have to upload so frequently. But you can see Let's just go back a little bit. It's whatever. It's close enough. There's not a long time. There's not a lot of videos that I make where there's a week or more between uploads for the last pretty much year and a half. So if I were spending a ton of time on every single video, that would take away from my ability to make as much content, and that would mean that the content gets fewer views and people don't get to see it as much. So that's something that you have to balance as a YouTuber. You have to balance your ability to make content quickly with your ability to make content that is good. Oh yeah, someone just asked, what are the copyright claims on? Every once in a while, I get copyright claims on older videos. YouTube's copyright system is absolutely busted. I'll touch on this for a brief rant here. Not for very long. Okay, here's how YouTube's copyright system works. And this, I'm going to monitor the chat because I'm curious to see how many people are going to be be surprised by the way that YouTube's copyright system works. If I upload a video with a song by Taylor Swift in it, YouTube has a copyright ID system where, copyright holders can basically say, here's my song, analyze the audio or video, and when you find a match, strike that video. And for the most part, if you upload a song that you don't own the rights to, it'll catch that before your video even goes live, and then I'll just be like, oh, darn, I didn't even realize that video was copyrighted, take down the video, change the song, upload it again. The scummy part of YouTube is manual copyright claims, because basically what copyright holders can do is they can go through into a video and tell YouTube, this has my copyrighted content in it. Now, I'm not sure what the verification process is, because otherwise, if there was nothing, then, YouTube would be a complete disaster and they would just claim random videos. But for the most part, I'll still get claims on content where, like, the audio is a match, but it's not enough to trigger an automatic claim. And so whenever that happens, usually days after the fact, that is a manual claim. I'm going to switch back to my face cam for this. That is a manual claim. Someone went through and said, oh, that video has my content and I want all of their ad revenue, so I'm going to take it. And the problem with this is that, and as someone just pointed out, my videos get copyrighted for having copyright-free content. That happens to me all the time. A lot of the background tracks in my videos are stuff that I find off of YouTube. I mean, nowadays, I just subscribe to Epidemic Sound, so I pay, and it's not going to get claimed, and I pay like $15 a month or something to access their music library. But in the past, I would pull copyright-free content from YouTubers that would post videos and say, this is a free song, and you are free to use it as much as you want. And what happens is, people will download that song, remix it, like just add lyrics or something. I use like lo-fi tracks sometimes. So they'll download that beat, record some vocals to it, upload it, copyright it, and then claim my video for using that. How unbelievable is that? So someone takes a free piece of content from YouTube, claims ownership of it, and then claims the revenue from other people using that free content. Now, obviously, that sounds really problematic. That's not, that's not fair to me. That's not fair to the person who actually did create the content, especially. Sometimes people that created the content will get claimed for using their own content. That's atrocious. But you'd think, oh, well, surely you can fix that if you submit a claim and you say, this is actually free content. This is my content, if it's yours that's getting infringed upon. But the really infuriating thing is, if you dispute a copyright claim, the person that gets to judge whether that claim is valid is the person who made it. So if and these are just like random people, if they make a claim on my video and I say, your claim is invalid, they get to decide whether I'm right or not. That is the most ridiculous thing that you could possibly imagine. It would be like if someone robbed me. I was like walking down the street and someone robs me, and then I submit a police report, and the person who gets to decide if I got robbed is the robber. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And what happens is you basically don't have any way to like object to that. You basically have to suck it up. And if this happens like a day after posting a video, even if it happens like a couple hours after posting a video, to take it down, fix it, and re-upload it, the momentum of that video is already gone because the notifications are sent. People have seen it. And it just kind of tanks it. You just don't have any control over that. You have to live with it. They really do need to fix that. It's really, really unfair. Not even necessarily to me, because if I didn't create the content, even if they said it was free, if the person who owns the content wants the ad revenue, maybe they might have an argument there. But it's ridiculous that you get these trolls. And you also run into issues with fair use, where people will make a remix of a song, or people will make, I believe the legal definition is a transformative work. You take a piece of content as inspiration or as the basis for satire or parody, and you create your own piece of content out of that. But because it's using a snippet of someone's song or something like that, they then claim the rights to your entire content and all of the revenue that it generates, which is not how fair use works in a legal definition, but there's nothing that you can do about it on YouTube. So that's just one of the risks that you run when you upload YouTube. Some of my most popular videos were copyright claimed. My most viewed video for a while, I made $0 off of because it got claimed. So some music company that claimed that claimed a song that wasn't theirs made like $1,000 off of my video and someone else's song, and there's just nothing you can do about that, which is really, really unfortunate. Let me take a look here. We'll wrap this up. I might make a follow-up video to this if I get a whole bunch of questions. I will have this video be up on the channel afterwards. I'll make it public so you guys can watch this. Hopefully it'll work. I know we had that technical glitch, so hopefully it won't be really weird. Someone asked, all right, we'll have this be the last question. Hey Luke, please answer my question. How do you find trendy topics? One of the things that I don't do that I probably should is keyword research. So something that you can do, this is, any form of SEO, any form of social media, whether you're trying to make it big on Instagram, Twitter, get your website in Google or on YouTube, you want to do keyword research, and that tells you what topics are trending, and then you can try to capitalize off of the search terms. Now on YouTube, it's interesting because on the one hand, keyword research can be useful because it can show you what the search volumes are for certain keywords, and then you can say, okay, well, if a lot of people are searching for 2020 MacBook Pro or WWDC 2020, you can be like, all right, well, maybe I'll make my next video about that, and I'll have some traffic from that, stuff like that. I don't find that as useful on YouTube as it is on other sites because so much of YouTube is recommendation driven. Basically, I don't look for trendy topics that are trending on YouTube. I look for topics that are trendy to my viewers, something that people will want to click on. Because the way that YouTube determines how to recommend my video is very often based on the initial views that I get from subscribers. And that's one of the reasons why, as a YouTuber, I sort of get trapped in the niche that I've chosen. So Mac content has done really well for me, but a lot of the reasons why I only make Mac content is because that's all that I really can make. So if we look at my videos here, let me go back to the front page. This might take a little second. Okay, if I go back to the current page here, I had a recent video where I reviewed the Surface Book 3. This video actually ended up doing pretty well, so I'm happy. I'm optimistic that I'll be able to branch out a little bit more, but a lot of the reason why this video did well is because I added this in like a day or two after making the video. I put in MacBook Pro 16. Because basically what happens is if I upload a video that doesn't fit with my normal style of content, in the initial hour or two that it gets posted, people won't click on it. And then that tells YouTube that people are not interested in it, and it basically condemns the video. It just kind of kills it. Especially when you get to a channel of my size where most of your views come in the initial 3 to 4 days. If I don't capitalize on that literally first hour of people who have notifications turned on getting the video, if they're lower than usual, that video will die. So this video, when it was just called Apple Sheep Reviews Microsoft Surface Book 3, I thought that was going to be enough. I thought doing this sort of cheeky Apple Sheep thing would keep people's attention, but this video was the least viewed video of the past like 2 months when I first posted it. When I added this, it came back and it's done pretty good since then, but you do get those every once in a while. If I try to branch out, the content just doesn't succeed. So it's kind of like building a secondary YouTube channel within a YouTube channel, because my audience, you guys, want to see me talk about a 2012 MacBook Pro. Someone asked, do you think that the unibody 2012 MacBook Pro will get software updates in 2020? I don't think that. Thank you for your donation, Mark. That was a good little tie-in there. Did you see what I did there? Anyway, if you guys are all looking for that content because that's what I post all the time, if I post something else and you don't find it interesting and you don't click on it, that video is pretty much doomed. Now, I'm not here trying to beg for likes or say you have to click on every video that I post. If you're not interested, you're not interested. But as a creator, you get trapped a little bit, because if you have a niche that works for you, what that's also saying is nothing else works for you, essentially, because everyone has an expectation of what the content that you're going to put out there is, and if you don't put out that content, you tend to suffer from that. So that kind of gives you an idea of a lot of that question. Wait, someone asked me, oh, I'm not responding to Darth Plagueis. I don't know what that is. All right. So we've been going for about an hour and a half. I think we'll wrap it up there. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope you gained some insight into how YouTube works. Let me know. Follow me on Twitter at Luke Miani if you have any feedback. I would definitely be open to diving into the behind the scenes of YouTube, helping anyone out who has any questions, something like that. I would definitely be open to doing that again. Hopefully by the end of this week, we'll do another keynote recap video, which, by the way, the second one, the one that didn't get taken down, should be in a playlist on the channel if you want to go watch that if you missed it, or you want to watch that again. So that should be over there. We'll hopefully do another one of those videos later this week, and I'm also planning on doing a live WWDC 2020 video. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how the virtual WWDC goes. Hopefully we can do a stream for that. I probably won't be able to post that one after the fact because Apple can be pretty annoying with their copyright system. But we should be good for a live stream for that. So that gives you an idea of what's to come. I've got a new video coming out tomorrow at 11 a.m. EST. Set your timers, set your clocks. It's going to be a good video. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter at Luke Miani. Leave a comment, leave a like. Make sure you're subscribed. You probably are if you're watching this, but, you know, never hurts to say. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next video, which is tomorrow.